Let's learn 5 lessons for GP staff and primary care networks from Elon Musk. Hi GP learners, I'm Dr. Andy Foster and this will be one of my solo videos. As I often like to do when I have time to be alone and think, I'm going to take a step back from all the current hustle and bustle and controversy going on in primary care and the world in general and do some contemplation and reflection. In this video, I will be reflecting on a biography I read recently about Elon Musk and drawing some themes and lessons that might have relevance to healthcare workers in leadership roles and for primary care networks too. This biography was written by Ashley Vance and I'll link to it in the show notes for those of you who want to take a look. So, ask entrepreneurs, innovators, leaders who they most admire, and one name often appears towards the top of the list. That is Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a South African, Canadian, American billionaire technology entrepreneur and is currently riding a wave of success at his 3 main companies. If his form continues, he may well be remembered as one of the great figures of the 21st century and of our time. So at Tesla, Musk is disrupting the motor industry by making electric cars that are actually usable, actually desired by consumers, and he's making big steps forwards in battery technology. He's got traditional automakers playing catch up. At Solar City, they are making solar roof tiles and home battery storage solutions and energy grid level batteries with the aim of eliminating our dependence on fossil fuels. And at SpaceX, perhaps Musk's most famous company, Musk has dramatically cut the cost of sending satellites and human beings into space and is making reusable rockets a reality. He ultimately aims no less than to make mankind an interplanetary species and establish a colony on Mars and other planets and other places in the solar system. So, also, not content to simultaneously revolutionise these 3 industries, he's found time to form other companies and to promote various other ideas, causes and concepts. Supersonic intercity travel in vacuum tubes, he's dealing with that with Hyperloop. Saving the world from rogue artificial intelligence, he has OpenAI. Building a network of tunnels under Los Angeles and around the world to alleviate traffic congestion, The Boring Company is going to help with that. And melding the capabilities of man and computers and machine with brain-machine interfaces, the Neuralink company is taking care of that too. I probably should mention as a disclaimer at this point that there is a big pinch of hype to the aspirations of many of his ventures, in my opinion, including in particular Neuralink, but he aims high and certainly pushes the envelope of what is possible. And in addition to all of this, he's still got time to father 6 children. Well, that was when I last checked and the book was written. I think there's been another one since then. And to appear in films and other media. And here he is in inspiring Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark in one of the recent-ish Iron Man films of the Marvel Avengers series. In fact, it's difficult to talk about Elon Musk without feeling that I'm revealing a large man crush to the world. He is one of my sort of personal, perhaps not heroes, but somebody that I look up to and think is a really, really impressive individual. But, oh well. There is a flip side to him, of course, and Musk has his critics. He's been called hyperactive, attention-seeking, and exaggerator. Former employees and colleagues will often describe him as demanding, sometimes bullying, that he has a darker side, and he can be prone to damaging outbursts and lapses of judgment that can damage himself and his companies sometimes. Anyway, this biography from Ashley Vance is really fun, informative, it's a good read. I'd really recommend it if you like biographies or have an interest in entrepreneurship, leadership, the technology industry, or how people come to develop into those individuals that can really make a dent in the world or universe, as Steve Jobs said. Musk had a fascinating and seemingly quite brutal childhood, it seems, and the anecdotes about his journey and the founding of his companies are really, really insightful. So maybe check that out. So on to these lessons that we talked about at the beginning. I've tried to pull out 5 lessons and we'll deal with each of them in turn. So I've really tried to digest the book, distill down the information in there into some lessons relevant to my role as a GP who is interested in organisational development, technology, working at scale, and also leadership, and is now also involved in trying to make primary care networks work. So lesson 1, be visionary. Musk provides a clear and inspiring vision for what he wants to achieve at each of his companies. Often these are very, very ambitious. SpaceX isn't just about making reusable rockets. Its goal is to make humans an interplanetary species. Particularly in the early years, Musk would personally communicate his vision to key potential recruits in order to attract the best staff to his companies. Employees will gladly work at his companies under significant pressure, in challenging conditions and without the best pay, in return to the chance to work on his inspiring goals. For gifted aerospace graduates, if you want to contribute to actually delivering rapid progress towards making mankind an interplanetary spacefaring civilization, then you go and work at SpaceX. For energy scientists, if you want to help speed up mankind's transition to cheap, sustainable energy sources, then you can work for SolarCity or perhaps even Tesla. Many people are inspired by big goals. And primary care networks and GP surgeries can have big, inspiring goals too. And I don't think we should be afraid to set and articulate these. I think some of the aspirations to impact population health for primary care networks open up some opportunities here as well. So giving all children the best start in life in your area, helping people to age well and remain active, increasing healthy life expectancy in an area or community despite significant deprivation. Being part of a compelling vision can be attractive to potential staff and can help differentiate your organisation from others when recruiting. It can be motivating to existing staff as well. PCNs are often fishing in the same pond to recruit ARRS staff. GP surgeries are often fishing in the same pond for staff as well. So every little can help, and it's really helpful to be able to distinguish your organisation from others. And don't forget, people are inspired by more than just the money, and people can be inspired by these aspirational goals, provided they seem credible and you deliver them in the right way. Of course, we do need to balance ambition with realistic goals and pragmatism, but I suspect that many of us perhaps lean more towards the pragmatic and cynical side when communicating about our work. And it might not hurt to be reminded every now and then that it can help to show a little more ambition and a little more vision. Lesson 2, using vertical integration. Gosh, this sounds a little bit technical, but I found it a powerful concept in the book. So let's have a go at unpicking it. This is the strategy whereby an organization expands its ownership and control of processes up and down its production and value chains, the opposite perhaps of outsourcing, which has been very popular in recent years. Musk ran into problems early on at SpaceX and Tesla with suppliers. He found that they could be slow, inflexible, and inexplicably expensive. He found that by bringing the design and production of components from fuel tanks to guidance systems in-house, they could reduce the cost of production, improve the quality, and improve how they integrated with the rest of what they were creating. So how is this relevant for GP surgeries or primary care networks? Well, healthcare is also complex, and primary care is just part of the journey a patient takes through the system. Things happen before they contact us, and they often move to another part of the system after we have finished dealing with them. Sometimes the things that can cause the most frustration for ourselves and our staff and patients, and also negatively impact care too, don't naturally feel like they are under our control. Primary care networks could provide an opportunity to challenge this and improve how we integrate with the parts of the system below general practice and above general practice. Below and above, perhaps not quite the right words, but I think you know what I mean. Let's think about an example. So let's look at care homes. A problem often identified with dealing with care homes is around high volume, low quality referrals coming from care homes and into GP surgeries. Surgeries can find it hard to deal with this and prioritize and work out which patients need urgent attention and who's the best member of staff to deal with each query. By taking and sharing some ownership of the processes occurring prior to care homes making a referral and contacting our surgeries, for example, by providing care home staff with training, encouraging the use of escalation and de-escalation tools like Restore2, and standardizing referral templates and the information that we want coming into general practice, and training staff and spending time training their staff how best to deal with us and GP surgeries. It should and perhaps will make it possible to improve that interface between primary care and care homes and better manage the workloads and improve patient outcomes and experiences of our care as well. The concept of integrating functions such as physios, dietitians, mental health practitioners and treatments, paramedics and the other ORS roles with primary care networks is perhaps another example of how we can better integrate general practice with other traditionally external and outsourced elements of healthcare and healthcare functions. So that's perhaps another example of vertical or at least better integration. The next lesson, lesson 3, seek synergy. Musk is a busy, even hyperactive entrepreneur, and at first glance his companies might look like an odd collection of ill-fitting interests. However, if you look more closely, there is synergy at play. Tesla and SpaceX share staff and advances in manufacturing techniques and material technology. Tesla batteries are in SpaceX rockets. SolarCity's efficient solar panels and cells will power Tesla's network of free charging stations and will also be important for providing the power to manufacture rocket fuel on other planets. All of Elon Musk's interests work towards an optimistic vision of a brighter future for mankind, facilitated by advances in transportation and energy. There is perhaps a personal development lesson here for those medics who like to be busy and take on challenges. We can achieve more with less stress if we take on complementary roles with similar skill sets and knowledge requirements. Maybe this is just common sense, but for example, say you're already somebody who has experience with working at scale and technology and have roles which mean that you already keep up to date in these areas. If you are looking for another role, you'll find something that draws on the knowledge, contacts, and experience you are already maintaining easier, and perhaps more importantly, you'll deliver much better results with the same effort than if you pick something completely different. So seek synergy in the roles that you take on and in what you try and achieve in your career. That would be a lesson I draw from this. For examples too, there is a steer to be careful to set goals and projects that draw on and develop common competencies, skills, functions, staff and experience. So there's a lesson for organizations there too. Lesson 4, challenge the status quo. Before SpaceX, the space launch industry had come to feel like an exercise in the politics of using government contracts to maintain tens of thousands of jobs in the aerospace industry and contractors across many American states. Genuine advancement towards opening up space and to opening up the industry and the solar system to more people and businesses had slowed and almost stopped. Or at least that's the picture portrayed in the book, and I think there is some truth in that. SpaceX have taken a very different approach, bringing their activities in-house and cutting costs where they can. They have reduced the cost of launching a government satellite from $424 million to $65 million, apparently. And it's expected that further dramatic cost reductions will follow. This reduction should lead to an increase in access and commercialization of space, producing a commercial space sector and delivering many more jobs than it does today, and opening up a new world of possibilities to mankind. In medicine, things can be slow to change too. That being said, when needs must, things can change much more quickly and we can adapt. The recent mass adoption of remote assessments and video consultations is a great example of this. Previously perceived barriers were dropped and melted away and things moved forwards very, very quickly. It showed what can be possible and that maybe there is more space to push things forwards and challenge the status quo than we might think. So push the status quo. Lesson 5, work-life choices. This, I think, is one for us as individuals. Something notable in the book is that Musk works really, really hard. His schedule sees him often working 7 days a week, 100 hours a week. He often sleeps at the office or even on the Tesla production line. He has 3 divorces behind him. He has risked financial ruin at certain key moments in the history of Tesla and SpaceX. SpaceX at one stage would have been bankrupt if one further launch of its Falcon 1 rocket failed at that point. Fortunately, it succeeded. Many previous employees and partners of Musk describe him as rude, stubborn, ruthless, very difficult to work with. He works really hard. He takes stressful risks and is certainly not everybody's friend. That being said, Musk has achieved amazing things, but he works insanely hard to get there. And there do appear to be trade-offs elsewhere in his life. Musk seems to be at least at peace with his decisions. He appears driven by a really strong desire to achieve nothing less than saving the human race from destroying itself, and that's a really big motivator, I guess, for him. He seems to feel that the choices he's made about work-life balance are right for him. So what's the learning here? So not even Elon Musk can have it all, and neither can I. And the super productive people we often try and keep up with, they were making trade-offs too, often ones that we can't always see from our own perspectives. They can't have it all either. So especially with the year that we've had, we need to look at ourselves and make sure we reflect every now and then and make sure that the level of work and commitments that we are taking on and the balance with our rest of our lives is right for us at that time. Some of us, some of the time, love our work and love being workaholics, but many of us, much of the time, take on too much. Keep the balance right for you and look out for yourselves and look out for each other. So hopefully there was something helpful in there. It's certainly a book that I enjoyed, and I'd encourage you all to check it out if you're at all at least interested and you like reading biographies. And of course, healthcare can be very different from the energy, computing and aerospace industries, but Elon Musk and his life certainly is an interesting example to examine. Thanks for watching and for listening. Please do subscribe to EGP Learning, follow us and comment, and look out for our next video or podcast. Thank you very much.